Hey everybody, welcome back to Cam's Flies. I'm Cam, and today I'm tying a Goddard Caddis variant, an Egg Laying Goddard Caddis. The Goddard Caddis was developed by John Goddard and Clive in England. It was developed as a still water pattern. Goddard gave the pattern to Andre Puyans, fly attire from California in the 60s, and Puyans shared it all over the Bay Area. And he called it the Goddard Caddis. Here's what I'm using as my egg material. It's just a 15-pound monofilament. I just use a lighter to melt down one end. Not too much. You let that cool down. I used a paint pen for this. I color the melted down portion of the monofilament. This is called green vert. Just something bright green, chartreuse would do the trick. If you have nail polish, give that a shot. Really want to be sure I get this thing coated evenly. And once I let that sit for a day, I use some Solarez UV resin. This is the thin hard. And zap it with your UV light. I wanted to make the egg a little bit larger, so I gave it an extra coat of UV. My hook, I used a Montana Fly Company Nymph and Streamer hook, 3XL in the size 14. Get my hook situated, and my runs at a master vise and mash down my barb. Norvise bobbin spooled up with some Semper Fly, brown,
in 8/0
Nano silk. Get the thread started around the hook shank, about 2 hook eye lengths behind the hook eye. Cut the excess out of the way. And I get my egg situated just past the bend of the hook. So it's basically touching the bend of the hook. The way I have it situated. I'm doing a lot of fiddling here, trying to get it to sit the way I want it, but that thing nice and tight on the hook shank. Cut the excess mono off. I like to clip it at an angle of 45. Really tighten things down, make sure you got it secure, and then whip finish. Cut that thread out of the way. And for our next thread, I'll be using a GSP. This is a Veevus GSP 150 denier. Color white. I get it started just at the right where I clipped the mono. You see me taking breaks from time to time and unwinding my thread to flatten it out. This is kind of a thicker thread. I don't want to build up too much bulk with it cording up. This is Zap-A-Gap medium CA glue. I use this to get the fur started and hold everything in place. This is just a bit of fur that I got from an Amazon variety pack. As you can see, it was almost gone. Really ran through this fur. It's actually been quite some good fur. Made a lot of flies with it, a lot of good flies. So I get this started just in front of the egg. Where I put the glue. It's Stonfo hair packer. Packing the hair back. And using a half-hitch tool to really lay those knots back in front, right in front of the fur. I grab that tail end of what I tied in, try to keep everything even, cut it away. This is a little trick I learned from Tim Flagler. If you guys haven't seen his videos, check his videos out. He's amazing. I've learned so much from him. This is a second batch of fur that I'm tying in. And I'm progressing my wraps up. Once I get to about where my mono was cut off at, I can stop and then work my thread up to the hook eye and tie it off. My copter flies scissors. I finally serrated. They worked really well for the GSP. Trim this to get it just kind of to shape. So you get kind of a triangle shape with a nice flat bottom. Get everything nice and even. Clean up the bottom. I want to make the egg visible. If the egg wasn't there, I probably wouldn't worry about cleaning it up so much, but all for the fly tire at this point. It'll probably catch fish as is, to be honest. Get that nice and fine-tuned. Blow things off as you go. Fluff it up, kind of see how things are standing. Trimming can be a long process. And now you whip out your lighter again and kind of clean things up. I saw Cheech do this from Flyfish Food on one of his Goddard Caddises. His method was a little different. He put his deer hair in a dubbing loop, twisted it, and then wrapped it, and it looked beautiful. But I might try that one of these days. Shout out to you, Cheech. Until then, this Goddard Caddis will have to do. You just take your time with it, getting the profile right and making sure there's nothing that looks too crazy or out of place. I'm not liking the little humps. Looks like it's a camel. So I can trim a little bit of that away. That'll have to work. Cinch it a little more. That'll do. This trimming is so tedious. Another thing, Cheech's method was he didn't even use a razor blade. It was all just burning the hair away. He trimmed initially to get that initial triangle tent-like shape that you want for your wings, but he pretty much just used a lighter for the rest. It was a pretty amazing trick. You guys should check that out. Cheech at Flyfish Foods, Goddard Caddis. And now I'm getting ready to tie in some peacock. This is going to be my antenna material. This is a dyed red peacock. As you can see, the quill is bright red. So I'm going to be stripping these quills, taking the ones close to the eye right here, so that way they're nice and thin. I don't want them too wide as an antenna.
So I stripped 2 of these, and I'll get them tied in just behind the hook eye. These are about 3/4 of an inch long. And I think that's about what I tied them in at. 3/4 of an inch in length for the antennas. You could play around with it. Once you get those tied in, you can get your saddle hackle ready. I used or your dry fly hackle, whichever. I used a brown hackle from Hairline. It's in a size 14. I stripped one side of the quill, so I just have barbules on one side. Just give it a bit of a cleaner look on the wraparound. Those antennae really want to get in the way, but just with a little time, a little patience. And if your antenna fall, just like you can with your tails, you can put a wrap underneath of them to kind of lift them up and get them to do what you want them to do. As you see right here, I wasn't too happy with the way they were presenting themselves, so I gave them a little under wrap and a couple half hitches while I wrap my hackle. You see it makes nice clean wraps when you have one side stripped. You get about 10 or 12 wraps depending on how far back you stopped your deer hair. And then tie off the hackle. Try not to trap too many fibers. And give this a quick half hitch, 1 or 2. Just so we can cut our hackle out of the way. Be careful you don't cut your antenna. You can come in like I do here. I have a couple fibers, hackle fibers that aren't really agreeing, doing their own thing. I come in and pluck them out, and then whip finish. Cut the excess away. And I'll be using some Luna Outdoors UV glue, the flow. Got the flow. Just to really lock things in place here. If you need to, you can adjust your antenna and hold it in place while you zap it with the UV light, just to ensure that the antenna maintain the position that you want. Give that about 10 or 15 seconds is usually what I like to do. And there's the Goddard Caddis. The Egg Laying Goddard Caddis. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you liked the cool little story behind it. If you liked it, hit the like button. Smash that subscribe button. I can't wait to go try this thing on my local lake. I have a couple of them. I got Delval and Shadow Cliffs next to me, so I'm gonna go give that a try. So thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one.